In this video, I want to show you the cold DM system that I'm using myself and that I've helped clients implement. One of my clients, Hendrix, right here, he just closed a $44,000 deal using cold DMs. If you're somebody that has a B2B offer, I don't care if it's a done-for-you service, a coaching program, whatever, if you're going B2B, outreach is one of the most effective things you can do. Now, when it comes to being able to close a 44K deal or, guys hit 50 grand a month with cold outreach process, one of the most important things you have to do is you have to get people to trust you. You have to get people to spend time with you. We have to get people to our YouTube channel. And what I want to show you here is not only like the software stack and everything that we use to scale outreach processes, but more importantly, I want to show you the philosophy behind how to make it work to actually close deals. Now, I'm going to make a separate video covering how to like completely stop sending manual outreach and the software stack and everything. You can see some of the softwares here. When I first started in business, I was sending 100 to 200 cold DMs a day manually. I mean, I'd be in the gym, I'd be like on the treadmill, I'd be ripping cold DMs, right? And that's how I got like my first couple of clients. But I really do not recommend sending cold DMs manually because it's a very low leverage activity, right? You're going and manually sending out 100 DMs to get 1 to 3 replies. It's a low leverage activity, but it's a needle mover. And if you send enough of them, you're going to get a lot of leads, you're going to get a lot of calls and a lot of clients. And so my recommendation is to either go the VA route or the AI, like automated software type of route. Now, 2 years ago, when I hit like my first 20, 30K month in my SMMA, I was doing VA outreach. I wasn't using softwares because at the time, if you used a cold DM software, your accounts would get banned and it just wasn't up to date with all the restrictions Instagram had. But today, for this new offer that I'm selling to realtors, I've actually been experimenting with a software called Cold DMs, and I could run through this all in like a setup video. If you want that, let me know down below. But basically, I have 11 accounts right now sending outreach messages to realtors in different cities in the country. And so far, since we started this like about a week ago, really trying to do it, we've sent 400 DMs, we have positive replies, and now I got to go and speak to these leads. But this process works pretty well. More importantly, I want to cover why and how you should actually do outreach. Now, I've worked with a lot of people in various different niches serving different markets. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the actual market. If you like look at the process that I did with Hendrix, right? He just closed a 44K deal. He didn't copy my outreach process exactly. He actually used the philosophy and like the principles about outreach and applied it to LinkedIn. And he also wasn't sending 1,000 cold DMs a day. Like he was sending, I think like 50, 100 around there. And literally all we did to help him close that deal was I actually gave him one of the VAs that was doing outreach for me back in the day. We plugged him in, he started sending them out on LinkedIn, and he started getting calls. And you can actually see his profile right here. His one-liner to his offer is, I help busy entrepreneurs shoot 1 month of content in 1 hour. And what's interesting about that is that Hendrix actually has a save more time offer, not a make more money offer, which is interesting. Because the people he's serving are 7, 8, 9-figure CEOs that don't have the time to go and produce content, and that's the problem he's solving. And that's exactly what that deal was. He did his VA was doing LinkedIn outreach, and he got on the call with a founder that had 8 different companies. I think they were like pool installation companies or something like that. And the guy needed content for each of the locations. And that's how he was able to close that 44K deal. But the number one thing when we're looking at outreach is understanding your market, because cold DMs aren't the best thing to do for every single market, right? And the way I would think about this is, what are some examples? I have clients serving permanent makeup artists, and he's using outreach. If you're serving dentists, doctors, lawyers, realtors is who I've found success with on cold outreach and who I serve. These types of B2B companies where the market isn't massive, I would say these are the types of industries that you want to do cold outreach on. I've worked with clients that sell biz ops, so info coaching offers to copywriters, people in the online space. If that's your market, you probably want to stick with something like content, right? So there's a lot of nuance when it comes to what you should actually do, but the principle here is that you figure out your market. For Hendrix, it was like 7 to 8-figure CEOs. And then the next question you ask, very simple one, is like, where are they? Like, where do they chill? Where do they hang out? And for Hendrix, he's like, dude, I mean, these guys are on LinkedIn. They're reading their messages on LinkedIn. Let's do LinkedIn, right? And it worked for him. I've found success with Instagram, specifically for realtors, because every realtor has an Instagram account. okay? And essentially what we want to do is we want to be getting people to go and consume content from us, okay? So if you look at this process, this is the process that I'm building out. Top of funnel, we're trying to build a process to send 1,000 cold DMs a day. This is quantity focused, not quality focused, right? And both approaches work. But I want it to be completely automated. That's why I have the whole software stack, and it's just sending out while I'm traveling right now in Honduras. The next stage, though, is the actual pitch that we do is to get people to go and consume a video. Now, we want this video to be an absolutely insane VSL that completely shifts all their beliefs, shows the new way, the new thing that you're selling, the new mechanism, and exactly how you can help them, and that pitch is a call, right? From that, people are going to auto book from the VSL to a call with you, or you have a conversation with them. So you see right here, the VSL, they could just auto book through there to get on a call and then to close. Or they watch the VSL, you continue asking them questions in the DMs, having a conversation, and then I've been able to close people in the DMs, so sometimes you can just go from convo to close, or you go from convo to call to close. It's a very simple process. All we're doing is we're generating attention, so we're getting eyeballs on us by sending out outreach messages, and then we're getting people to be pre-sold, to understand who we are, our offer, our process, and who we are as a person. And if we can sell them on those three things, they're going to be pre-sold, right? So we do that with the VSL. Now, the way you could host your VSL, if you're copying this process, is you could either do it on a Loom, like it could literally just be a Loom video, and in Loom you could attach a book a call button, or you could do a landing page, right? You could do a landing page with your VSL with a book a call button, or what I recommend typically is to send people a YouTube video link. I believe one of the most powerful combinations, like if you're selling B2B and outreach is an effective tool for you, would be to combine outreach with YouTube. The reason being is YouTube actually solves the downsides to outreach, and outreach solves the downsides to content and YouTube in general. And if you just like write this out, think about it. Okay, so we have outreach here, and we have content over here. I'm just going to list out some of the downsides. So the downsides to outreach is you get ice cold leads. Right? You are reaching out to them, you're getting them on a call. When I really scaled my process with VAs to about 800 to 1,000 DMs a day, the number one problem was not appointment booking. We were getting appointments. The number one issue will always be show up rate and close rate. And the reason being is there's a lack of trust, right? I didn't understand this when I was doing this outreach, and it led to me having like a 10% freaking show up rate, a low close rate, and it sucked. And no text and email automation sequence and Go High Level can fix that. But what can fix that is getting them to actually trust you and see you as an authority. You do that with YouTube. And this is actually where it gets interesting. Every YouTube video that you make, the goal of it is to provide value. What is value? It's solving problems for your ICP, right? So value solving problems, but it's not only providing value, it is also shifting beliefs, which I consider to be value as well. Value comes in different ways. So value comes from solving problems. To its core, it's solving problems, but you can solve problems in different ways. You can solve problems with tactics slash like strategies. You could also solve problems with insights. You could also solve problems with stories. Right? Because value, I used to believe this, that like value is just showing you like a cold DM script. But then when like I really try to sit in your shoes of like where I used to be at, which is probably where you're at, I realized like, hey, tactics and like scripts and just funnel diagrams alone, that's not the only way to provide value. If I tell you a story that changes a belief that you had that was limiting you, right, a limiting belief, then you would be able to go and do the thing to get the result, and that would be value because I would still solve your problem. The point is each YouTube video that you make becomes an asset that you can use in your outreach. There are like a lot of different ways to format the outreach. I'll show you like some ways that we could script it out to make it really, really good. I don't like giving direct scripts because they don't work after a while. But if you could think freely for yourself, think creatively, and just do this on your own, you can come up with a process that works for you. The first approach is a case study approach. So very simple. It's like, hey, you know, like, well, this isn't exactly how I would script it, but the principle is like, hey, I got John 5 deals in 60 days. Would love to show you how blank new mechanism works, right? So the case study approach has worked for the longest time. Essentially what you want to do in this approach is, and this, like, I'm telling you, if you have a killer case study, this works really, really well because you can make it like specific to them. So if I'm talking to realtors, right? And I know that one of the biggest things they struggle with is they're paying agencies that aren't working, they're buying leads online, and it's just not working, right? I could say something, if I have a case study where like somebody closed, let's say like 20 deals in 6 months, you could say, like, hey, John, I recently just helped my client Becky close 20 deals in 6 months using an AI blank system, right? All without having to spend $1 on ads or hire another crappy lead gen company. Would love to just showcase a video on how she was able to do it. Something like that, it works really, really well because they're interested. They're like, yeah, I want to see how Becky did this without spending money on ads, without X, Y, and Z pain points and things they've tried in the past. That's essentially how you want to frame this. So that approach works really well. It's like the actual pitch is to give them a case study video. And the case study video, if you incorporate some storytelling about who you are, will sell them on you. It'll for sure sell them on your offer because it's proof. It's like, hey, Becky paid me. We worked together. We got this result. I can help you do the same. And then in that video, if you do it correctly, you also sell them on the process. So it's like, hey, here's what Becky did. Step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go ahead and copy it. And like you teach it to them. Simple call to action to book a call increases trust. So the conversation after that is going to be warmer and it leads to increased show up rates and close rates. If I knew that when I was scaling my outreach process, it would have helped me tremendously. So freaking much. And that's exactly what Hendrix did as well. He would send a Loom video to these prospects, nurture them and show them how the process works. He'd get them on a call and close. And it was literally as simple as that. A lot of people overcomplicate everything that they're doing because of the abundance of information online. And at the end of the day, something that I even have to remind myself every single day is the simple fact that imperfect action beats perfect inaction every single time. And this is something that I consistently reiterate to clients, to myself. Everybody wants to make it perfect. Everybody wants to be like have processes nailed down right away without proper data to track. The same thing with outreach. Like people get in this analysis paralysis mode trying to come up with a script. It's just it's literally a hypothesis on if it's going to work or not. You're coming up with this idea, hey, this script is going to resonate with their pain. It's going to get them to watch my VSL and it's going to get them on a call. And so spend, an hour coming up with an idea and then put it into practice, because everything in business, I heard Sam Ovens say this actually. I'm trying to remember exactly how he said it, but essentially on a podcast, Sam Ovens was talking about how do you create content and showcase to people that you could really help them. And he emphasized the point that you don't make content or you don't make an outreach script or anything for yourself. You make it to solve other people's problems. Everything that you do in business is just to help other people. And if you make it other people or ideal client focused, everything becomes easy. I hope that's making sense. Everything becomes easy when you just center down on what problems, what questions, what keeps my ideal clients up at night. And you make videos to solve those problems. You make outreach scripts to emphasize exactly what they're going through and make them feel understood. That's the number one thing. The problem you're solving for people, you have to make them feel understood, that you actually understand what they're going through, and they're going to assume that you have the solution to that problem. Right? So that's all this is. And I see a lot of people messing up on outreach, a lot of beginner guys as well, dude. They're just missing the mark. They're not making the outreach message outcome focused. And what I see right now is I call it like the Band-Aid effect. Essentially what we're seeing is this Band-Aid effect going throughout the industry, throughout the market, where people make up for their lack of marketing and understanding people's problems and resonating with it and revealing a new way and all the stuff that is typical marketing principles, and they Band-Aid that lack of skill with a money back guarantee. And it just never works. And I want to save you the time. A lot of people, they'll say hey, we'll get you 30 clients in 60 days guaranteed or your money back. You will get clients doing that, but you understand as well that you're not going to get the right clients and you have no defense around your business. I have a story to back this up. I had a client, and I've talked about this before, but I had a client doing $50,000 a month in his agency. And his entire funnel was literally just an ad that said, hey, we're going to get you 300 appointments in 30 days, guaranteed or your money back. And I was trying to get him to start creating content, start building trust, start building what I call a moat around your business. It's like a defense line around your business that stops people from just being able to copy you right away. And if you think in the agency info space, like what are things that could create this defense line around your offer and your business? One of them is just building an audience, right? Posting consistently for years. That's something that's hard to replicate because somebody else is going to have to do it for years as well. And the number one way to win is by not quitting and not stopping. And most people quit and stop. I remember I've been running an online business for 3 to 4 years now. And there have been so many people that started with me at the exact same time. And today, there's crickets, bro. They are ghosts. They are not to be seen anywhere. And it's scary. And so a big part about winning is just being consistent and just sticking with it for long enough. And that's super basic advice. But if I'm talking to my old self, that's literally what I would tell him. People are too focused on the short term all the time. People are like, if you make a YouTube video and it gets 10 views, it's like, oh my gosh, dude, it doesn't work. I need to switch up the whole strategy. I need to stop doing YouTube. I need to do this thing. If you send outreach messages, you send 50 and you don't get a response. And it's so easy to beat those people, man. It's so easy to beat those people by just committing to yourself that like, hey, I don't know what your offer is, but if I had to give you a rough outline, if you posted 1, 2 videos a week for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, you'll never have a money problem again in your life. If you sent out 500 to 1,000 cold DMs a day, not for a week, not every other week, for a year consistently, you will never have a money problem again in your life. And things will just add up and you're in inertia, like you're in movement, you have momentum. That's all that this game is. And so if you're somebody that's dealing with this like analysis paralysis and trying to optimize and make everything perfect comes from the feedback that your prospects and your clients give you. The way you build an insane program is by having clients and seeing what they're struggling with. And you make videos and recordings and frameworks to solve that. When you're trying to figure out marketing, you know what the best marketing is? You know what the best thing you could do is? You hear what your clients told you on the sales call that they were struggling with or that they wanted to get, pain or desire. You write down the words they tell you, and those words become your marketing. They become part of your outreach script. They become part of the ads that you run, the VSL that you make, the exact words that a client tells you. I do that. When a client signs up and they tell me like, dude, Christian, I was just struggling with this, I will write down exactly how they said it. Because I'll reiterate that on an outreach message, on a YouTube video, on a VSL, etc. So we create a moat around our business by building an audience. That's the number one way that I've done it. And when you're able to build trust like this, it also doesn't require a guarantee to actually close deals. People make up for the lack of trust they have with prospects by putting a big money back guarantee. But when you have something that is like unable to be possible to fulfill on, you're going to deal with disputes, you're going to deal with chargebacks, you're going to get your payment processor shut down. And when your only moat in business is your money back guarantee, when somebody comes in, like the guy I was telling you about at 50 grand a month, dude, somebody came in and instead of guaranteeing 500 appointments, they guaranteed 1,000. And so there's different ways that you can really hurt your own business. Number one is competing. I know you probably know this one, competing on price, but also competing on a promise. Think about this. You should understand that a bad business model is one that competes on price, right? What's an example of this? When I go to buy, it could be socks, dude. It could be anything. Let's say socks, right? When I go to buy socks, I mean, me personally, I don't really care what socks I wear. I don't care if they're Gucci socks. I don't care if they're TJ Maxx or Walmart socks. I don't care. And so I'll be like, okay, I'll go get the cheapest socks, right? That is an example of a product or an offer that is competing on price. I was simply looking for the lowest priced option. And so when a competitor comes in and they have a lower price to you, now you need to drag even lower on your price until you just reach the bottom, you hit zero. That most people understand, I believe. But competing on a promise, it happens in the same way. If you go out and you're like, hey, barbers, I'm going to guarantee you an extra 10 grand a month in your business in 30 days. Now you're going to end up competing on a promise because somebody's going to come back and they're going to say, hey, barber, I'm going to guarantee you $30,000 in 30 days. Until it just becomes so unbelievable and not possible. And that's it. Your business is screwed, right? The way you beat this competition on a promise is by making a promise that's believable. You don't need a promise that's out of this world, 100 clients in 30 days. You just simply need the promise to justify an ROI on your price. So in examples, let's say real estate agents, right? Let's say an average commission check for them is 10 grand. If I can show them, if my promise is like, hey, I'm going to help you close just 3 deals initially with us working together in the first 4 months, that's $30,000. And if I could just show you the process and the case studies that I have behind it, you'll believe that I could actually help you close those 3 deals. And if I get you to believe that you can close those 3 deals only through my process, guess what's going to happen? If I get you to believe that, you'd be willing to pay $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 for that. And that's the game you want to play, right? So to get back on track here, I would go with like a case study approach. The same way outreach and content, the cons to outreach, like I was saying, is show up rate and close rate, right? When it comes to content, the downsides is really just predictability. If you're making content for dentists, the chances that you just blow up are pretty slim, right? And so it's kind of like you balance them out. Outreach brings in consistent eyeballs and attention every single day. And then the content, the pros to the content is people get to trust us. They get to be pre-sold on our process, which leads to higher show-up rates, higher close rate, higher pay in full rate, higher or better quality client experience. The actual clients that you get, they're going to trust you. They're not going to be skeptical and just paying you to see if you actually fulfill this guarantee. This is how I think through this stuff. Okay. Every YouTube video that you make can become a lead magnet in your outreach that you can test. So let's say that you're talking to dentists and you make one specific video about the exact ad strategy that you use for dentists, right? That video can become a lead magnet for your outreach campaign. And you can go make a campaign with a pitch that says hey, I made a video about how to run Facebook ads as a dentist in 2025. It helped Becky close X deals in Y time frame. Let me know if you want to check it out. You see, and now you could test lead magnets like that. That's the process that I use when it comes to outreach, and that's the process to help Hendrix hit a 44K deal. I've helped people like Joseph get to 50 grand a month with the same process. In summary, we have a high ticket offer with a justifiable ROI that we can make them X amount of money back, or in Hendrix's case, save them X amount of time, which is worth a lot to a 6, 7, 8, 9-figure CEO that he's selling to. High ticket offer. Then we implement an outreach process and we make sure that the market we're serving is fit to use outreach as our actual lead gen, B2B focused, somewhere where we could easily find them, right? If it's LinkedIn, X, Instagram, wherever, and you build a process there. If you'd like a separate training video on how I built a private server right here, this is something, these like the software stack that I use. I use Petrosky.io, Webshare.io to buy the proxies, ColdDMs.com to automatically send out my outreach messages. If you want a full training on that, I can make one. I have the links to this stuff down below. If you want access to this doc, I can give it to you as well. And if you want help scaling with outreach and content, you can speak with me down below. I can help you scale, brother. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. If you have questions, drop them down below. I'll go and make more videos helping you with this process. And I hope you have a great day. Take care, man. Peace.